I have a story. It's story time with me, TomBerkenmeyer.com. There's a moral to the story. There's a big, fat, juicy point, and it's extremely meaningful. So stick around. This will be over in a few minutes, and I hope you enjoy every second of it. I want you to picture in your mind a farmer going out to his field knowing that he needs a harvest this year. He needs it to nurture his family and also to support his family because maybe that's how the farmer makes his money, to support his family. So I want you to picture this farmer needing this harvest. And he hasn't sown any seed whatsoever, and he's standing on the edge of his field looking up at the sky, praying to God Almighty, please, God Almighty, give me a harvest, and I promise this spring after the harvest I will sow seed and I will cultivate and I will do the thing consistently every day. Please, God, do this. I know that seems idiotic and silly, but I'm going to ask this question anyway. Do you think that he's going to get a harvest going it in that order? Of course he's not, and everybody knows that. So here's another question for you that might hit closer to home. Why is it that you might be broke or out of shape? You need more money, more health, more whatever it is that you need, but you're waiting for something to happen first before you're willing to change. Why is it you think that it's going to happen that way? Conceptually, it's just as idiotic, unintelligent, unworkable, undoable than the farmer who wants to harvest first before he's willing to actually sow seed and cultivate. Here's another example. So let's say you want to paint your house blue or whatever, and you go outside of your house and it's still this ugly yellow, and you look up at the sky and you're praying to God, God, just suddenly turn this house blue, and I promise I'll get out the paint buckets and the ladders and everything, and I'll paint the house blue. Just make it blue for me first. No, it's not going to happen that way. You've got to paint the house blue and it'll be blue. It seems so stupid and idiotic, but yet we don't apply those natural laws to life itself. We seem to only selectively apply it to the things that are, I don't know, maybe more painfully obvious to us. But the thing is that's life. That is a natural setup of the earth. You want to learn how to get ahead, change things you want to change, get more of things you want that you don't have enough of yet, like maybe health and the ability to help people and money, then learn these natural laws that you probably already know, but learn how to cooperate with them so that you can get them to work for you. I mean, how great is it that we actually have a system in place, the natural laws being the system, and we inherit that just by being guests, and we actually get to use that to shape our lives however we want. And one of the most beautiful things about that entire concept is that it doesn't matter what kind of a mess that you're in. Everybody has a starting point, whether it's getting healthier, getting more money, coming out of poverty, changing whatever it is that you need to change. All of us has a starting point, no matter how bad the starting point is. We can do little bitty things every day. And the beauty about doing just a little bit of something every day is that anyone can do at least just a little bit of something every day. And you factor in the compound interest effect over time of doing just a little bit of something every day consistently for a long enough period of time, that's going to make an enormous difference. It'll make all the difference. Those little seemingly insignificant little things that most people cannot be bothered with because they don't see how it's going to add up to make a difference. It not only adds up over time, it multiplies, whatever it is. So that's the moral of the story of the farmer who's standing on the edge of his field, praying to God for crop first before he's willing to sow seed because he needs a harvest. The natural law doesn't say if you need, you will reap. It says you must sow. You have to have a good seed, and you have to be an ambitious sower. And you can have whatever you want. You will reap a harvest. That is a natural law. It just is. We didn't create the setup, but we're here. We're here. You're here anyway, right? Do you think you're going anywhere? Not until your pulse stops and your body turns cold. You're going to be here in this finite position on the planet that we occupy. And afterwards, there's going to be, depending on what your beliefs are, I believe that there's going to be a new heaven and a new earth. And I believe that God created the setup that we are guests on But nonetheless, there is a setup here. The sun rises in the east and sets in the west. You cannot change it. You can use it, cooperate with it and the other natural laws, but that's the way it is. And you can't fight that. If you fight that, I mean, I'll challenge you so that you know that I'm not full of poop. If you have a garden at home, go look at your garden. Don't plant any seed and start praying to God that there's going to be a harvest before you're willing to plant seed. And I don't think there's going to be a harvest. Um, use the house one too. If you want a different color house or whatever it is, it's not going to happen until you plant the seed, you cultivate. It just isn't. And then I want you to do something that most people are not willing to do. Apply it to your life, your everyday life. You need more health. You need more money. You need this. You need that. Better relationships. You need to sleep better. I don't know what it is. But whatever it is, I want you to try doing what you've always been doing and see if anything changes. Haven't you had enough validation by now, just through the passing of time, that what you're doing is not working? If you have, change something. And if you haven't had enough validation by now, then keep doing what you're doing, and maybe someday you'll have that enough validation in your own mind. I mean, the validation's already there, whether you see it or not, that what you're doing is or is not working. It's a question of your own mindset, your own belief, your own personal philosophy. If you believe that time has been validating enough by now that you're broke year after year after year because you won't change your level of conscious thinking, Albert Einstein said, "You cannot." I'm paraphrasing here. He said, you cannot expect to solve a problem with the same level of conscious thinking that brought you there to begin with in the first place." If you're broke and you don't have much health or very little or none of each, then you have to change course. You have to set a better sail. And like I said earlier, it doesn't matter where you start. Where you end up is dictated by actually getting started, staying immersed in it, not where you get started. You could be in the worst places of the planet. If you still got a pulse and you're still living, that's a starting place. It really is. And almost anything of significance is done in little bitty small steps, a little bit of something every day that everybody can do. That's a beautiful thing. It also empowers you if you believe it. If you don't believe it, then it doesn't. But these philosophies, these natural laws, they absolutely empower you to change anything in your life that you want to change. If you want to completely revolutionize your life because you're just in this place that you're not happy in at all, you can do that. That's what all this stuff means. It's extremely empowering. Don't let anybody tell you that you're where you're at because of things that you have no control over, like the economy and politics and whatever might be going on in your environment. You have complete control over how you feel and how you respond to whatever it is that happens to you. I think it was John C. Maxwell said one of the most profound things I've ever heard. He said, life is about 90%. I'm sorry, I'm reversing this. Life is about 10% of what happens to you and 90% how you respond to it. Man, if that ain't the truth, you need that 10% of things that you have no control over, so the other 90% of things that you do have control over, which is your response, so that it can actually work for you, and so you have something to shape a life with. So you need that. You need the good, the bad, the ugly. Anyway, that was an unintended pun. You need both the negative and the positive things happening. The wins when they're negative, the wins when they're favorable, the wins when they're unfavorable. You need that just so that your sail, hopefully the better sail that you're setting, better sail of learning and doing, so that your sail has something to pick up on and you can actually move, create motion, arrive at a different destination the next couple years than, say, where you're at now from the last couple years. It's really cool stuff, guys. Learn natural laws. Natural laws are cool. They're there for us. I believe God gave us natural laws in the setup of the universe to help us. We just have to believe it and then do it. If you don't believe it, then, they're just not going to help you. And if you fight that, the only possible outcome is you will lose. There is no other outcome fighting the natural setup. You'll lose. So take advantage of it. That's what it's there for. God gave us challenges. He gave us the natural setup of the earth, of the universe, so that we could cooperate with it all and shape our lives however we want. Absolutely. Go out there and go get it, guys. Be passionate and be significant in the lives of others, whatever you're doing to better your own life. Let it be in a way that you're also significant in lives of other people. That's a beautiful concept. Thanks, everyone.